My name's Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on Earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. When I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So if you too are mad about Mickey, then this is the podcast for you. Or maybe you're the Disney novice, the fan who's just maybe thinking about or maybe replanning your 5th Walt Disney World holiday, and your life is more Chip and Pin than Chip and Dale. Well, this really is the podcast for you. Each episode, I'll be chatting to other Disney superfans from around the UK to share their memories and their magical times. And our first guest of the new year is Gary C. And we get to the bottom of the lost bag story.
But it wasn't the passport and my new iPad that I worried about. I was more worried about the Medway one winning the quiz.
Also going to be answering your Walt Disney World questions, getting the latest news from the parks, everything you need to know to plan the ultimate trip to Walt Disney World. And make sure you keep in touch. Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, we are at PodMagical. This is the most magical podcast on Earth as part of the Secret Recordings Network, and welcome to our first podcast for 2021. We'll be looking forward to hearing from Gary C later on now. His mate Adam Hatton has been on the podcast, so we'll get some Disney stories from Gary very soon. Also, we'll be getting you the latest news. We'll be going into more details about the cancellation of the Magical Express and the Extra Magic House. We'll get into that in our news section, but we've had a lot of questions about that as to where people should look now. People are kind of thinking, well, is it really worth booking and staying on site at Walt Disney World? What am I actually getting for my money? So we'll get into that more into our news section later on. But in terms of that, another question that's popped up from Emma. Don't forget, if you've got any planning questions, you can always just send them over. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PodMagical is where we are. Emma's got a good question for the podcast. She says, Andy, what do you recommend people do for mobile phone usage? If you're going from the UK to Florida, obviously we're going to need to use it more for the Disney app because the Wi-Fi there is not very good. Now we're going to have to get Ubers and Lyfts from the airport. We're going to rely on it more. So how is the best way to go about using your data? Is there a particular phone package that you use or a pay-as-you-go? What do you do, Andy? Thanks, says Emma. Well, personally, I'm on EE Max plan, which includes international roaming. So when I'm in America, I can just use my phone as normal, whether it goes to sending texts or making calls or using my data package. It's exactly the same. So I've never had a problem with that every time I've gone. I put this question out actually on one of our Instagram stories last week, so we've got some good responses from that as well. Gavin has got a great suggestion. Him and his wife are both on the 3 network. Simply, it just changes over when we get to America, so we can get to use our phone exactly as we would at home for no extra phone use cost. It's just like being at home, says Gavin. So there you go. Maybe think of the 3 network or EE Max plan. Or if you've got any more suggestions, do give me a shout. I can mention it on our next podcast. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PodMagical is where we are. Same place to go if you've got any questions. We'll answer them every episode on the podcast. And that's the same place to go if you'd like to be on the podcast as a guest. If you just want to chat about Walt Disney World with somebody, you've found your tribe, this is where we are. And this week's guest, well, we had his mate on about a year ago, Adam Hatton. This week, it's Gary C. And I'm so excited to have him on because it's great for the start of the year because Gary C is always full of positivity. Welcome to the podcast, Gary.
Thank you so much, Andy. It is lovely to be here. I am so excited to be on the podcast. My friend Adam did it early last year, so I am carrying the mantle. Maybe if we incorporate another person into our little duo, they can do it next year. It'll be like a tradition, a magical tradition.
Yeah, pass it on. Now, the strange thing is, it's probably nearly a year since you and Adam were at Walt Disney World. We're coming up to probably a year. And were you the last people were you technically like booted out the country?
We were in the line for Space Mountain when the news broke that Walt Disney World, Disneyland, and all the other places were closing. And some of the cast members didn't even seem to know because there was a girl behind us in the line and she just sort of looked at her phone like, what? And then we went on Space Mountain and then we were like, okay, what are we going to do? We've got 2 days left of the holiday when the parks close. But, you know, you make it happen, you make it work. But it was very strange. It was a really weird time. And because I'm somebody that has like anxiety anyway, an anxiety disorder, it was a very anxious time for everyone. But going out there and even coming back after the travel ban, there was no testing, there was no stops, there was no nothing. So it was only still another couple of weeks until lockdowns and everything got really serious. But while we were there, a lot of people were just trying to make it happen. It was incredibly difficult to see cast members crying and stuff like that because they'd just been told your Disney work dream is over.
Yeah.
Like, you're being sent home and you've literally got 3 days to pack your stuff and get back to where you're going. Because it was all very much like the borders are closing, this is it. So it was a very, very strange time. But what a holiday. I got to stay in Animal Kingdom Lodge, which has been a dream of mine. So I was kind of loving the fact that, yes, this is going on, but what better place to be?
I suppose if all resorts of the parks are closed, the resort you want to be at is Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Well, yeah, because we had the animals, and the animals, even in lockdown and when everything was closed, as I was talking to one of the pelican keepers.
I thought you were going to say I was talking to one of the pelicans.
I was talking to one of the pelicans. The pelican was like, "Hey, girl, what's the tea? What are you doing at?" And could you imagine if I was like an animal whisperer and I was like going around Animal Kingdom on Kilimanjaro Safari, just like whispering to all the animals, like, "Hey, girl, see you in 10 months." But yeah, we have. People keep saying like, "When are you going back? When are you going back?" We have tried. I think I'm on like my 7th or 8th cancelled trip now. We have booked things and stuff like that. Like many vloggers, like we are keen to get back, but it has to be the right time and it has to be safe. And you know, like we did a little mini vlog series, Adam and I, on his channel for Centre Parks in the UK and Chesington and Alton Towers, and people enjoy them. They're great, but they're not Disney World. And I think that people listening know exactly what I'm talking about when I say they ain't Disney World.
Isn't Disney? In a way, it's funny because people say, "Oh, you're going too often. Why don't you have take a year off and not go? Take 18 months off." Well, we're all going to be desperate to go back. And I think we're going to feel the magic more than ever whenever we can finally get back.
Well, for me, it's really strange because when I'm there, I don't feel the anxiety and pressures, and I'm not as socially reclusive as I am here. Like I spend a lot of time in my house, in my room, and I live with my parents. My life is very small in the UK, but when I'm in Disney World, I feel like, I don't want to get too deep, but I feel like there are no limits and it is magical. And like people are so friendly and nice. And I know that's their job. Like I'm under no delusion that that's their job to be nice to you and everything. But there are a lot of cast members that aren't just towing the Disney line, that they love their job. They think it's a privilege to work there. And it is just incredibly magical. I remember the first time I walked under the arches and, read the sign, "Here lies," whatever it says. I know that's really bad that I can't quote it, but I'm not one of those people that's got a bit of paper and a wax pen and like waxing it over it and then taking it to the house and putting it in a frame. I'm not that hardcore. I'm hardcore, but not that hardcore. Now, ask me about the pins and it's a different story.
We'll get onto the pins later. We don't mean his legs.
God.
So when was the very first time you went?
The first time I went was in 2015, which will actually shock a few people because it seems like I've been going forever. But I was 34 at the time. No, I was 35 at the time because my birthday's in November. My birthday's the same day as Mickey Mouse's on November the 18th. So we went in December. But I'd only been to Disneyland Paris in May that year.
Oh, right.
So it was a total thing. So basically what happened was I met my friend Adam and he said to me, we met at Summer in the City, this big event. He's going to love the fact that I'm making this all about him now. But it's true. I would never have gone without him. The money and like he was like telling me like to save your coins and everything, and you know it's going to blow your mind and you're going to love it. So we went to Disneyland Paris for a few days in the May of that year, and it just totally like I cried when I saw the castle. I cried when I saw this. I cried when I saw that. Anyway, so we went in December of that year. We did 5 days in Disneyland Land in California, and then we did 5 days in Disney World in the Christmas season, my favourite season. And I mean, let's just say I've been a few times since.
Have you lost count now?
I don't know if I've lost count. I think it's 8. How many magic bands are there that you get in the resorts?
How many different colours? I'm not sure.
I'm missing one. In 5 years, I'm missing one. I'm missing the orange one. And the reason I didn't get the orange one before people come to me and say, "Why the orange? You went for the grey over the orange?" Yes, I did. The reason why I didn't get the orange was because that's Adam's, inverted commas, colour.
So he always has orange?
He doesn't always have orange. He has like this millennial pink colour now, this fancy millennial pink, which, by the way, he lost in Disney World. And the people there are so incredible. They found it. We do not know how they found it, but they shipped it to him when we were at home.
Wow.
I know. They found it somewhere in Disney World. Not even where he thought it was. They just found it and then they shipped it to him. So he's still got his millennial pink Magic Band.
How did you lose it, by the way? Because I've always got the paranoia of any ride where I've got to hold on to something. I'm always kind of like half holding onto my wrist.
Well, it's funny you say that because I always thought they are never coming off. But then once I was on Star Tours and it flew off, like, and I don't think Star Tours is that leery. Although saying that, when you sit at the back, it really is quite leery.
It's quite jolty, isn't it?
Yeah, so it just flew across the chairs. And I was like, and for the rest of the attraction, I was sort of watching where it was. I was like, I really do need that back. Not necessarily because of the whole room key situation and stuff like that, but more so, I collect them. So I was like...
Not the fact you can't do anything or get anywhere
Well, that's the thing. When I lost my bag in Disney World after our cruise, we came back from Port Canaveral and I left my bag on the coach and the driver very luckily brought it back. But it wasn't the passport and my new iPad that I worried about. I was more worried about the medal I won winning the quiz. I was like,
irreplaceable.
I was like, where's my medal? I've never won anything like that before.
And you did get the bag back.
We did get the bag back. It was a very, as Adam will tell you, it's a very stressful few hours. I think I aged about 15 years in that 2 hours. And then we did a quick run around Epcot for the art and the Festival of the Arts, which I'd always wanted to do, but I had like an hour and a half to sort of do it. So we like painted the wall and we saw some of the art, and it was a very quick run around Epcot, thanks to the Gary Seabag situation. But it is what it is.
Let's talk about some of your favourite things at Walt Disney World. In fact, first of all, what is it that you love about Walt Disney World?
For me, it's the escapism. Every time I'm there, I just walk through and I see the joy on people's faces. One of the things I love most is the characters. And I can almost hear my friends sigh. Here he goes. Here's the spiel. But look, here is the thing. I will justify this because I know a lot of people, like a lot of adults, see the whole characters thing as like, oh, it's really for kids. Like the kids care more about them. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
I love the characters in all their incarnations. If I see Mickey in one ensemble, I want to see him in another ensemble. I remember when Adam was working in Disney World and I was there on my own for a few days of it. I would never do that in the UK. But I was walking around on my own and I met every Disney character you can have a scheduled meet and greet with. I literally went from one to the other. One day in Epcot, I bounced from place to place and met all of them. Like Belle, Mulan, Snow White. Like I literally did all the ones in Epcot in a day. It was a lot. And, you know, should I have put myself through that? Probably not. But what a day.
Who would you say is your favourite?
I think my favourite to meet is Mickey because he to me symbolises not just the Walt Disney Company branding and everything with the Mickey ears. He is Disney to me. And obviously I have that connection to him because of my birthday, so it's always a bit of a special moment and stuff. I remember when I met Articulated Mickey, the Mickey that speaks back to you, I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. I'd never expected it to be as good as it was, and he did a magic trick with me. Adam's sitting there with the vlog camera on me, and he's like, what was it like talking to Mickey? Well, it just sparked me again. It was unworldly. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like all my dreams come true. And because I didn't go to the parks as a child, and I'm a bit of a sort of child at heart, to meet him and for him to like interact with me was just, it was something else. And I'll never forget it. Like the time I met Snow White in Epcot for the first time. Our friend Patrick was with us. They were just stood in the line. The people behind us worked me into a frenzy. I was crying before I even met her. Like they were.
What were they saying?
They were just like, "You're going to meet Snow White. She's there. She's right there." And I know part of it they were talking to their kid, but I was like earwigging in, and I was just absorbing all the good vibes, and I was just like, I had tears in my eyes when I was meeting her. And then she said to me, like, "Oh, make a wish in the well," and everything like that. And I was like, "Oh, this is too much for me, girl. I'm literally just going to fall to the floor." And so whenever I see her in things now, I'm like, met her. Like, met her, friends with her. We go way back, me and her.
I love having a chat with the characters. When I go for like character buffets, and I'll get back from holiday and I'll tell people that, oh, me and Daisy was telling me about this, that, and the other, and they're going, "How she doesn't speak?" I went, "Well, you obviously don't know how to communicate with these characters."
She don't need to speak. Listen up. She don't need to speak. I could tell with her little feathery arms flying around everywhere. I met her once in her, I think it was Food and Wine outfit. It's this like pinky checkered thing. Anyway, She was on fire that day. She was sassy. She was just giving it all the lair. She was dancing. She was like, if you've ever been to Disneyland Paris and you've met the Queen of Hearts, when the Queen of Hearts is like proper Larry and like fun, that's what Daisy was like that day. I was like, yes, Daisy, come on, girl. Let's get Larry. It's interactions like that you do cherish and you do take away from you. And there's like this wonder when I'm there and I see them, and it's like, I sometimes scream and shout like a kid when I see them, like overexcited, and I forget where I am and I forget that I'm 40.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's why we go.
I know, and I just love it. And other people don't get it, but the people listening to this, these are my people.
Yes.
These people get it. And
find your tribe.
I know. Find your tribe. Live your best life. Treat yourself. Keep going. All those wonderful things. Stick it on a postcard and sell it. Like, also, I think in answer to your question, like, what is it about Disney World? I think it's the castle. I think the castle is a key component of me enjoying it. Because when we went in March, there was a lot of firsts. We went on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. We went on Star Wars.
Oh, Rise of the Resistance.
Yes, Rise of the Resistance. But still, for me, seeing the castle with cranes on it and being painted with the new colours, because we were there when they were doing it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because it was all a bit of a weird transitional time when we were there. And we saw the first bottom layer go on, so we could tell what colours it was going to be. And afterwards, people were like, when they showed you a first glimpse, when it was closed, a first glimpse on Twitter and stuff of what it looks like, we knew what those colours were like in real life. And it does look different in real life. It's so majestic and just like beautiful. I know some people are a bit iffy about it because a lot of people are like me, they don't like change. But
it's only it's only a bit of paint.
From a distance, it's very cartoony like. It's like you're in a Disney film.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm all here for that. That is my zhuzh. Sign me up. Take me to Toontown. But yeah, I love the castle so much.
If I had to ask you for an all-time favourite memory from all your visits, horrible question. Have you got a standout moment?
Well, it's because of my friend Adam. We weren't even in Disney World. We were in the airport, and we arrived, and I said to him, I can't wait to stay in All Star Sports because I hadn't stayed there before. And for me, it doesn't matter whether it's the value, the moderate or the deluxe. If I've not stayed there, that means I'm getting a pin. So you were saying about my favourite moment. It was when my friend Adam surprised me with Port Orleans Riverside. I had no idea that he was cooking up this scheme. I thought he was staying at All Star Sports, which meant new pin. Mm-hmm. Hello. But then I got a new pin anyway from Port Orleans Riverside. Yeah. And we were staying in a royal room, which, had these light up beds and the princesses everywhere. And it was just an incredible stay. And it's probably one of the most viewed out of all of his videos, that video. Because people could just genuinely see how shocked and the joy. And just like, they have like, yourself, they have like horses, horse-drawn carts everywhere, like walking around, and they have the boat that takes you to Disney Springs.
Yeah, I love that boat.
It was all very adult Disney, which is not something I would usually prescribe to. Usually I'm an art of animation person. I want to be wrapped in a blanket of Lion King. I want my toothbrush to be Ariel's wig. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not particularly fussed about like the fancy, I don't know what it is, but the fancy Disney adult stuff. Yeah, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I love a fancy lobby. I love a fancy candle that smells like Disney. Don't get me wrong. I'm a bit hardcore for Disney. I like it to be Mickey Mouse, like in your face.
In your face, proper Disney animation.
Kind of, yeah. Someone emailed me actually recently and said like, oh, we'd like your advice to stay at Art of Animation. And they've got kids and stuff. I was like, do it. Don't be put off by the fact it's a value resort. Like, some people are really funny about like the values and everything. It's a Disney hotel. It's not a standard hotel. They are stunning. And the giant figurines, like photo opportunities. I love a picture. Like, I love a little moo shiroo around the resorts and taking pictures everywhere and, just absorbing it and having memories and having something to go back.
Yeah. We'll chat some more very soon, Gary. We've got a lot more Walt Disney World memories to talk about. And, of course, your pin collection. But let's quickly get up to date with all the latest news from Walt Disney World. And the biggest news stories that you probably will have heard last week, as Disney have officially announced that the Magical Express will be coming to an end as of New Year's Day next year. So for the whole of this year, you can still get the Magical Express that takes you from Orlando International Airport to your Disney resort for free, and takes you back to the airport again on the Tragical Express. That is being discontinued at the end of this year. And the other announcement that came along with that was Extra Magic Hours are also not coming back. Extra Magic Hours used to give you early admission, maybe an hour before, or sometimes let you stay an hour or two after if you were staying at a Walt Disney Resort hotel. That isn't coming back. The alternative is that every Walt Disney World theme park will let hotel guests in half an hour early. So it's every theme park, every day, half an hour early. I don't really know what that half an hour gives you. I know I've done that over at Disneyland Paris and didn't really feel like I got the benefit from that. So from the announcements, two questions arise. Question number one, if I'm staying at Walt Disney World, what's the best way to get from the airport if I've now got to pay? Well, you can have a private transfer, including, in fact, a lot of travel companies will offer you that anyway. Even when we had the Magical Express as an option, they would still try and sell you that. You can ask your travel agents to book you a private transfer. You're looking about 200 quid for the return. Uber. I've had Ubers to the airport. I've never had an Uber from the airport. To the airport from Walt Disney World, you're looking at about $35. So you're talking about $70, $80 return trip. But again, if there's a lot of you, because there's only two people and a couple of suitcases, then you can get an Uber. If there's quite a few of you with a lot of suitcases, you're going to need a bigger Uber than that. So I think they're your options at the minute, booking a private transfer or getting an Uber. So put that in your budget. And the second question that arises is, what are the perks of staying in a Walt Disney World Resort hotel? No Magical Express, no Extra Magic Hours, no free magic bands anymore. At the minute, there's no dining plan, so we can't book with free dining. So what are the perks? I have always said this when it comes to booking a holiday, not just at Disney World, but anywhere. Don't look at the holiday you want and work out how you're going to pay for it. Have a look at your budget and have a look what you can get. So it may be cheaper to stay at a Disney Springs hotel. So if it's in your budget, you can stay at a hotel and walk over to Disney Springs. There's a great Hilton there that a lot of people like to stay for. They also provide shuttle buses in the morning to the Walt Disney World parks. So you can get the shuttle bus from your hotel at Disney Springs to the parks. There may not be as many as there would be if you stay in a Disney hotel, but it's still there. And of course, at the end of the day, if you want to get back to your Disney Springs Resort hotel, then you just get a bus back from the park to Disney Springs and walk over. One thing to consider, though, especially at the Disney Springs Hotel, resort fees. Walt Disney World at the minute, the price you pay is the price you see. There's no hidden resort fees when you check in or when you check out. That can be $30, $40 a day at some hotels. So just remember that. Or maybe it's an opportunity to stay somewhere you wouldn't have thought before. Dare I say it, maybe you want to have a look at staying a few days at a Universal hotel at the beginning or end of your trip. There's a lot of possibilities, but I always say, have a look at your budget before you have a look about where things are going to cost. Otherwise, it might just put you off. But I remember the first time I stayed on property at Walt Disney World, and I've stayed at many places before. I've stayed at Buena Vista hotels. We used to stay on International Drive. We used to get the number 50 bus, which went from SeaWorld to Walt Disney World Transportation Centre, because we were really on a budget, but we wanted to go. So we used to stay at the cheapest hotels on International Drive, walk to Universal if we were going there. Sometimes they would have a free shuttle bus to Disney, and it was only one a day, and it took like 2 hours to go there. But if you want to go, you go, and you were at the budget. I remember the first time I stayed on Walt Disney World, and I couldn't believe the fact that you could get off the plane and you were in the Disney bubble straight away. You were straight on the Magical Express that took you to the hotel, and you'd have your magic band to get in your room, get in the parks. You would get into the parks early. We had the free dining at the time, and we were getting snacks left, right and centre. Remember the first week we stayed, we'd spent $1, and that was on a bottle of water from a vending machine. So a lot of those extra perks are what makes the magic, but if they're not there, is it worth it? Or maybe if you still have got that budget and you want to stay at Walt Disney World, some of the perks of the bigger hotels, I'm thinking like the Contemporary, where you can walk to Magic Kingdom, or the Yacht and Beach, which is my favourite, where you can walk to Hollywood Studios or Epcot. They've still got the perks, but they're really expensive. So have a look at your budget before you have a look at how much it's going to cost. That's what I would always say. So going back to the rest of our news. So Magical Express discontinued at the end of the year. No extra magic hours. It's just that half an hour for all the parks. Other news that's come out over the last couple of weeks from Walt Disney World. There's a couple of new places to eat over at Disney Springs. If you love a donut, there's a brand new place to get your donuts. Everglazed Donuts and Cold Brew has opened, along with the greatest cookies in America. Gideon Bakehouse has finally opened at Disney Springs. People have been going crazy with these cookies that look like doorsteps, and they're apparently the greatest cookies you will ever eat. There's still been big queues to get in there. Both of those places are now open at Disney Springs. The new M&M store is going to be opening there as well. And also going on right now at Walt Disney World, not that we can go yet still. I know we're coming up for 10, 11 months since they closed the doors to the UK. But the Festival of the Arts is happening right now at Epcot, even though it is a slightly watered down version. And talking about watered down version of things, news from Universal Orlando. They've also announced that Mardi Gras is making a return to Universal February the 6th to March the 28th. So parade floats, performers, themed food. Again, it'll be a slightly watered down version to what they usually do. Any other news that comes in, we'll share it with you. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Podmagical is where we are. Give us a follow, give us a like, and keep up to date. Our podcast guest this week is Gary C. Let's talk about then, because people are going to want to know about your pin collection.
Okay, I can't actually tell you how many I've got because I don't know.
That means too many.
That means too many. I've got these 2 big boxes full of them. They're not on display. They're not anywhere. They're just in these 2 giant boxes. And I get them out every now and then, and they lay them all out, look at my wares, soak up the magic, and away they go again. It's kind of the same with my Christmas decorations. I've got a thing with these things not fulfilling their life's potential. My Christmas decorations, I have loads of sketchbook Disney decorations, another thing I collect, which, may I add, I never intended to collect. Just like the pins. I got like 10 or 11 this year. And it was never supposed... Because they're expensive. They're like 15 quid, 10 quid a go, like 13 quid a go. What's really sickening is when they have some left and they go in the sale for like £6 or whatever. Oh, God, that kills me every year. And I see it and I'm just like, I just couldn't run the risk of not getting the ones I want, though. And Disney know that.
They know. Mickey knows.
They know. They know the week. They can see me. But they've started doing a lot more pins, actually, funnily enough. We're talking about pins in Shop Disney UK. Obviously, the American Disney store, Shop Disney, has quite a few pins floating around on it, limited editions, one-offs and stuff like that. And sometimes they have stuff from the parks, especially when Disney World was closed. But Shop Disney have started to reincorporate the old pinnage, and it's very naughty of me to go on there sometimes at 8 o'clock in the morning when the stock goes up and be like, oh, hello.
Not got that one.
Don't have that one. Oh, it just fell into the basket. Oh, no.
So how many times would you say in a normal, well, ignoring 2020, but like in a normal year, how often would you go, would you say?
I am privileged to go a couple... Well, I think I mainly go once a year. It's worked out. But a couple of times we've sort of like darted in for a day when we did the cruise thing. Yeah, it's usually like a couple of times or once a year. So you really want to get the best out of it. And, you know... People save for years for Disney World. I did. The first time I saved for like ages, putting money, like ferreting little monies away and, you know, budgeting for this, budgeting for that. Because it is a huge trip of a lifetime. Like I remember growing up and my cousins and my family on my dad's side, they would go to Florida, like Orlando for 3 weeks, and they would do like all of the big things, including Disney World, like to the max. And I remember sitting there being like, oh, one day I'll go, one day I'll go. And when I did, it did fulfill every expectation. It
is that, for a lot of people as well, it's once in a lifetime. Although you go once in a lifetime and then you find yourself saving to go back as soon as you can. There's no such thing as once in a lifetime.
Well, that's exactly what happens. I think a lot of people save for the holiday of a lifetime. They go there, they have it, and they just want more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very special place. And if there's anyone listening to this, like... through the powers of the internet that isn't a particularly big Disney fan, they've just got it on. Just you wait. You wait till you become part of it. And I don't follow any news things about Disney, nothing like that, because I've got Adam, any sort of saga or drama or anything new that's happening, he'll send me it, or he'll send me like, oh, these are the new ride vehicles in Japan, blah, 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 or whatever. But I have found myself sort of lingering on pages this last few months, because it is, even for me, someone that feels like, do you know, I've been incredibly privileged to go as many times as I've gone. And yes, there's been cancellations of trips coming up and all things like that. Disneyland Paris as well, and cruise and all the rest of it. But even me, with that mindset, is like, oh, I'd really love to go back now.
Ready for it.
Like, I really want to see it. And it's things like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is my favourite attraction now.
Well, I've not been on it yet, Gary.
Have you not? Once you have, that's it.
It was only on for 3 weeks. Was it even that? I don't think.
We went on it a couple of times when we were there because we went on it the first time as the first time, and then it was like, okay, we're doing that again before we go. And it became a thing, and everybody was scrambling for like Rise of the Resistance, and we'd done it. And we managed to get on that again as well with Adam's like scheme that our friend Brogan taught us, which is where you have 2 phones. You put one phone down on the side. So, you know, on Hollywood Boulevard, like in the shadow of Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
You need to be there.
Right.
Because that's like a good enough patch. Not too near the front because of all the Wi-Fi signals bouncing around and 4Gs and everything. You need to be there, away from everyone. You go to a website that has the time, the exact time for where you are. So one of you has that on your phone and the other one is on the app ready. The second, 0.5 seconds before you swipe it, it takes you in, you're in. And we got like boarding group free.
Oh my, that's amazing.
So we literally walked onto it.
Yeah.
Which for me and my anxiety and stuff is great because it meant not hovering around all day. And you know, there were people next to us that got it mere minutes, like a minute after us, and they were like group 97. So that's how intense it is. And obviously, with the reduced numbers, it's even harder now. But if you've got that tip, you've got one phone on it and logged in. Also, you need to be in the app. Make sure you're in the app and ready to go, not like opening the app because that slows you down. And it worked.
So would you say that your favourite attraction now is Mickey and Minnie, would you say, Runaway Railway?
I would. I think it's because it's got Mickey and Minnie and it's got Goofy and the technology is really interesting. Like, I'm not like a secret, like, Imagineer like Adam is. Like, he loves to know how things work. He loves the history of everything. No, stick me in the little car thing and send me around. I just want to know the magic. I don't want to know how this works. I don't want to know how that works. I don't want to go on any tours. No, just take me round on the ride and have me crying by the time it's done. then you get 5 stars out of 5. You know how you go on something? I remember when we went on Frozen Ever After and we went on at 9 o'clock in the morning the day it launched. There was me, Adam, our friend Francis, who does like Instagrammy Disney stuff, and our friend Patrick, who's another Disney vlogger person in California, but they were in Florida. So we met up with them. We sat on it. It did actually break down on our first time, which was kind of funny. It was a moment. It was something to look back on. But you know, when you come out of a ride and there's like the standard shop and you're a bit like, oh, of course there's a shop. No, we were so like hyped up from the Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway. The little shop stall thing that's on the other side as you walk out. We were like, we want everything. I don't just want the pin. I want everything. I want everything in here. Because it was such nice stuff. And that's what the ride is. The theming of the ride queue is great. Like, it takes some stuff from the Great Movie Ride, which obviously houses the ride. Yeah. And it takes like, it's got nods to that in it. But also, more importantly, the technology and the vibe as you go around, it's so fun. And you just see the joy. Like, there was this old guy sitting in the carriage with us, the cart thing with us at one point. And he was singing and swaying his arms and everything. And I was just like, wow. Like, there's kids in this carriage, there's us, and there's this guy. And we're all in the same sort of vibe right now. We're all really feeling it. And I don't know if it's Mickey and Minnie or it's the technology or what it is, the music. But we were singing the Nothing Can Stop Us Now song the whole holiday. It was a bit relentless. It was just like, nothing can stop us now. I don't know how. It was just that little like, da-da-da-da-da-da. And when we went on it a second time, we just looked at each other like, we're living for this.
It's got me. It's got me.
You've got me. Sign me up. Let's go on Spotify and listen to it because it is on Spotify. We found that when we were there. So we were listening to it. And when we were getting ready in the morning, we'd have it on. Oh, it was a lot. It was probably too much for some people, but we were just living for it. And obviously we went on Rise of Resistance at the same time, which was this incredible, immersive, dark ride that I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's just moments with one of the villains from the Star Wars franchise, and you're just like, is that a real bloke?
It's that good.
Is that an animatronic? Is that a real bloke? Because they have incorporated real life actors into it, and so you're just a bit like,
what's what?
I think this is incredible. And then we went on Mickey and Minnie in the same day, and we're like, well, that was incredible. And now we are converted to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
We haven't talked about food. If you had to pick a favourite restaurant at Disney World, what would you go for, Gary?
Well, it definitely wouldn't be Our Guest. I can tell you that. It is my favourite restaurant. That's why I mention it. But it wouldn't be because the food doesn't match the experience.
No.
The breakfast is amazing. Like all the pastries and like the grey stuff. It's delicious. I loved it. But when we on this last trip in March 2020, the experience of having dinner, meeting Beast, which was a dream of mine, which obviously I was hysterical afterwards, was way better than the food experience. The stateroom that you go in, his room, and you know the opulence of it all, and the wonder and the magic of the building and everything. The food is secondary to me in Be Our Guest, so I wouldn't say it's my favourite restaurant in terms of food, because for me the experience of Be Our Guest is the best thing Disney has. You walk in and you're in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
It is, wow, like amazing. In terms of food, Tiffin's in Animal Kingdom.
Do you know I haven't eaten there yet? It
certainly ain't cheap, but there's a reason why it's not cheap. It is a signature and it is beautiful food. Their chicken, their butter chicken is... I'm a chicken connoisseur. Cluck, cluck. I do eat a lot of chicken. I've had a lot of chickens in my time, and the butter chicken was gorgeous. They had this Lulu something drink that was beautiful, this strawberry drink, and the theming of the place is all like Expedition Everest sort of thing. It's like these explorers that went around the world to gather information to create Animal Kingdom, the Imagineers and stuff, and loads of the stuff and the research that they got and photos that inspired Animal Kingdom is all on the walls, and it is incredible. That's where the experience and the food match. And I would definitely recommend it. There is somewhere in Disney Springs, actually, which is the name of a famous chef.
Oh, is it Chef Art Smith's Homecoming?
Chicken and donuts. Don't get me started on the chicken there. Amazing.
So when do you think you're actually going to go back?
We were going back now. In January. I don't know if people are supposed to know that, but hey, you do now. But obviously, a lot of friends who are vloggers and stuff, their flights with different airlines got cancelled.
Yeah.
And we knew it was only a matter of time before ours. So everything as sort of like, you know, you get a voucher and you get to rebook again. Hey, here we go again.
Yeah.
Let's go round again. It's like, here we go again with the cycle of refunds and booking it again. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm really hoping for Adam's sake, because he's really started to get withdrawal now.
Yeah.
Which is weird, which is really strange, because you'd think someone that's lived there for 2 years working there on 2 different like Disney contracts and stuff, you'd think, oh, he's done it all, he's lived it all. But no, he still loves it. We still try all different foods. We still do all different stuff. Like, it's part of you.
Yeah.
Whether you've done it 1,000 times or just once, you always look back and you're like, oh, remember that? Love that. Love that for us. Remember when we did that? Remember when we watched the fireworks on the Polynesian?
Oh, on the beach
on Polynesian. Yeah. Remember when we watched them? Oh, good times. Dems were the days. And we had the Dole whip. Oh, and it went all down me because I tried to take pictures of it. Oh, yes. I remember.
The memories.
Instagram alive. Get the picture before it melts. Too late, it's all over you. And now you've got the bees on you. Oh, great. Like, there's just so many little moments like that that just make it worth going.
Well, hopefully it won't be too long before we are all back.
Let's hope.
2021 is the year. Gary, it's been absolute joy having you on the podcast.
Thank you so much. And to everyone listening, Andy is so lovely. We had a little chat before we came on and it was so nice. I was so nervous because I'm always worried. Am I going to... Yeah, I'm always like, what am I going to say? Like, will people like me? Oh, no. But yeah, you were really lovely and you were just like, yeah, we're just going to chat and everything's fine. So yeah, I wish you well. I hope the podcast goes from strength to strength. This is definitely what people need in their lives right now and beyond. Just a little bit of magic. As you said before, this podcast is all about people finding their tribe and the Disney World clan, the family of Disney Worlds. And I'm happy to have been a part of it. Thank you so much.
Well, I've got to say one more thing before you go, though, Gary.
What's that?
Have a magical day.
Yay!
And if you fancy joining me to share your Disney memories, just let me know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PodMagical, send me a message. Doesn't matter when the last time was you went to Walt Disney World or how many times you've been. You might have been once in the 90s. I'd love to hear about your trip. Let me know. We'll get you on the podcast for a chat. On our next episode, Tamsin is our special guest and we'll find out more about what happened to her at Epcot.
The staff in that restaurant said, "Oh, we quite like you guys. You've been nice. Come with us." And they opened a door.
Make sure you subscribe to the podcast for our next episode and we'll find out what happened behind that door. We've got a top tip every episode on the podcast. My top tip this week is all about going for big meals, especially if you're not on the dining plan, which doesn't exist at the moment. So maybe you're going to have 1 or 2 big meal treats, either a big breakfast or you're going to go out for dinner one night. I'm saying plan these around your park days, in particularly the parks that open late or the parks that close early. So, for example, say you got a big breakfast plan. Say you want to go to Riviera to have breakfast with artist Mickey on top of the Riviera. Well, Epcot usually opens a little bit later than the other parks. It might open like 10, 11 o'clock. So why don't you have your breakfast on the day you go to Epcot? So you could have breakfast like 8, 9, drag it out, get the Skyliner straight over to Epcot, so you're kind of like not wasting a park day. Same goes if you want to go out for an evening meal. Make that after a day at Animal Kingdom, which at the moment is closing like 5, 6 in the evening. Back in the old days, it used to close really early. Then it was open later at night. At the moment, that's the park that closes earliest. So maybe you want to go for an evening meal, even at Disney Springs. Get your bus from Animal Kingdom to Disney Springs. You can be there. Park closes. You can be sitting down for dinner at 7 o'clock at night. So plan those bigger meals around your late opening, early closing park days. Of course, if you've got any tips to share, let me know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pod Magical. I do love to hear from you, whether it's regarding tips or anything you've heard on the podcast or you want to be a guest. Do let me know. Also, if you're brand new to the podcast, we've got loads more to listen back to. We've got like 18 months worth of podcast episodes. So you can listen back to those if your day needs filling with more magic. That we are here for you. And of course, we've got brand new podcasts that come out every other Friday. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss them, because every now and then we'll do a few extra surprise ones in between as well. So hit that like button. If you love the podcast, if you could give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, then that would be brilliant as well. Thank you so much for that, because it helps people find us. And until next time, please stand clear of the doors.